So the water pump's gone again. I've just discovered. Nick's outside working hard, cleaning all the teak and all the decks, and I'm gonna have to go and tell him that he's got another job to put on his list. Yeah, I think we should just replace the unit. Yeah, I took the news surprisingly well. So we're going to order a new water pump from Amazon and hopefully we won't have to continuously fix this one. But that's living on a boat. There's just always something that goes wrong, always. It can be a little bit exhausting, just having to constantly deal with the next breakage or the next thing that's not working or the next problem. And we're still in the marina, we haven't even left yet. So yeah, that's why we're doing all this work now, so that we don't hopefully have as many issues to deal with kind of once we leave.
Water pump. I see.
So you tried hitting it with a hammer. See, I think that I need you around to fix all these things. All you do is hit things with a hammer.
Spanish toolkit. Alright, so our water pump has a little micro switch in it that has a little tiny bit of solder about the size of a pinhead that occasionally debonds itself and causes me a load of bloody problems. So I have options. Option one is take it apart again, which is about a 2-hour job. Or number two, just use bottled water for a couple of days, which I think is probably the best option. Whale, you have 12, 15. So
we're going to replace the tyre pump?
Yeah. Do you know what? The bloody pump is more expensive than the alternator.
How much is it?
$200. We have been waiting for this for a while. It should hopefully be the new water pump. This is such a boring thing. Anyway, replacement water pump for the one that packed up. Unfortunately, there are better water pumps on the market, but I figured that because of the way our plumbing is, if we replace like for like, it should be an easier fit. Although if we fast forward 20 minutes or 4 hours, I'm still trying to fit it, and I got that bit wrong. Inside here there is a micro switch, and the micro switch is sticky, and the problem is that there's a tiny little bit of solder that came off and just caused all sorts of problems. So basically it's just a micro switch. So this morning's fun and games is to install this to get the old pump out and put the new one in. There we go. Old water pump, junction box, isolator, and then that's a flow regulator. So basically what I have to do, turn the electricity off, turn the water off, isolate it, take this apart, put it back together. I'm kind of really hoping that this is one of these jobs that is as simple as it should be. It never is, because that's what being on a boat is all about. Water pump off. Isolate the water. Relatively straightforward, like for like refit. I think we'll turn it on, see if it fires up, and then see if it works. I had problems before with this valve here, and this valve here drips a little bit, and because it's a positive pressure pump, if it drips it will cycle in the night and annoy the tits off of me. Therese, could you open a tap please? Bathroom tap's fine. No, open it again please. Run the tap. Turn it off. It's a pain in the ass. It's got a leak. So finally. Oh, f*** me ragged. The debris in this place, seriously. A job in a boat, it just involves like turning everything into a bomb site if I ever end up with another boat, I promise you I want one with a workshop which will be kept immaculately. I'm going to give you a panning round of this. This is to change your water pump, which should have taken, in my mind, 20 minutes. 3 hours later, 2 trips to 2 different hardware stores to have a conversation which was poorly interpreted because I don't really speak with an American accent, and the names of the parts are very different. Anyway, so the problem that we have is that and it was just something, you know, some things that just never occur to you. They never occur to you when you set off to travel. You know, we understood fully that, you know, electrics are 220 in most of the world and 110 here, we're fine. However, when something goes on with your plumbing, everything here is imperial, which is inches and feet, and in the UK is all millimeters, so metric. So when a plumbing component goes wrong, which is a very specific component, I can't find the right bits. So we had a 15mm elbow joint that had become damaged and therefore was dripping water. Now, in a pressurized water system, it essentially means that the pump will continue to cycle. It was only a slow drip, but my OCD lends itself to getting things perfectly. So I went to 2 hardware stores and they were really good, really friendly, but they just don't have those bits. There is nowhere in the US that has this sort of thing. So what I've done is I've cannibalized another elbow joint from somewhere in the plumbing system. So it's completely invisible. It's just basically a little, I've managed to fix it, but I'm going to have to order parts and spares from the UK for our plumbing. And there's the thing, I suppose, our entire plumbing system is metrics. I would literally have to do a job with like a hose and hose clamps to try and make to bridge between the 2 systems. Anyway, we have a new water pump. We have water all over the floor. There's about 30 litres of water in the bilges. There is just a sodding mess, like a real sodding mess. So I've already started tidying. Bear in mind, I started tidying 10 minutes ago. There's the thing. Have a little squiz around at this beauty. So there's one toolbox open, toolbox 2 and 3. Box there, everything is soaking wet. I am in a foul mood and I've now got to tidy up and get on with fabric making, but I'm gonna have a snack, otherwise I'll end up punching something later. Anyway, we have fresh water again, or we have running water, so swings and roundabouts. Anyway, good morning Charleston, good morning South Carolina, good morning this bloody mess of the boat that I've managed to create over the last hour. So, why am I dressed up like this? Well, we're never really in one place for very long. The boat always moves, and where we have been is kind of been the Caribbean, and some places have been really quite remote. So a stack of jobs were lined up for when we had electricity, power, water, and all the other bits. And some of them are really important jobs, like replacing bits that kind of like I wasn't happy with, but there are other jobs which are just kind of maintenance, and any boat with wood in it or outside of it needs maintenance. So today's fun and games is sanding. So these are our companionway steps. These are the steps, and over the last 5 years, like water ingress and saltwater drops have kind of made the varnish split in places, or there's been a little bit of varnish loss. And so all the woodwork, which is really in the high traffic areas, so it's the companionway steps, it's the little teak kind of like edges, and our big step there, it's all being sanded back. I had to bring a sander back from the UK because our boat is 240 volt and I can only buy a 110 one here. Anyway, so today is sanding, and then I've got to sand it down through 3 or 4 different grades of sandpaper, and then clean it all up. And what else have I got to do? Then leave it for a day before varnishing to get the varnish, to get the sawdust out of the air, and then apply some coats of polyurethane varnish with a foam brush to kind of stop there being any streaks, and just try and get this boat back to the way it was when she came out of the factory back in 2012. Although I curse like a bitch when I'm doing this work, I actually like it. I like maintenance, I like keeping myself handy. Okay, so fast forward about 90 minutes, 2 hours later. This sanded back and washed, and just wiped down with water just to get any excess sawdust off, and I will wipe it down again because I always miss bits the first time around. Then polyurethane varnish, and so we'll start from the top, work down, paint, mask, and get the first coat on, and then we've got to kind of sand down the first coat, put 3 coats of varnish on.
Alright, so as you can see, the steps are all varnished. Nick did an absolutely fantastic job, as he always does. They look amazing, they look just like new, so that's one more job that we can just tick off the list. We've got loads more work to do. You'll be seeing us continue to work on this boat in upcoming episodes. Nick has been working really hard on the cockpit tent, which you can see kind of just behind me. We've got a couple of panels there. Another panel's going to go in the middle just here, and he's also been doing the cockpit cushions, which look amazing, so you'll be seeing those in an upcoming episode. He's been doing a really great job. So thank you so much for watching. We really hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, then please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're on Facebook just here. All other links are down below in the description. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we've got a blog, which give it a read if you haven't already. Be sure to leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, all that jazz. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you again next week with a brand new episode.